President Trump was joined at the White House by Kid Rock when Trump signed an executive order targeting ticket scalpers. And now look who's here on this program now. The man, Kid Rock himself. Sir, we're going to get into ticket prices in a second, but first, I want to hear about your dinner with the president. What did you, Bill Maher, and Dana White and the president talk about?
You know, it went so well. We talked about a lot of things that we had in common, which Bill Maher is a big, supporter of Trump's stance on the border, of ending wokeism. The president even asked him about policy, like what he thought with Iran getting a nuclear weapon and how Israel should react. Bill's a big supporter of Israel. We broke bread and talked about things we had in common, and it could not have been more cordial, more nice. I think everyone was so pleasantly surprised. I mean, it was so nice to have my friend Dana White there, and Dana goes, he told me, he goes, Bob, you did the right thing here. This was a good thing. Because everyone was a little suspect about it. Even the president had called me a few days ago. He goes, what the hell you got me doing here? And I'm like, we're just trying to break bread with some of our biggest critics and say, like, hey, it's okay to talk to one another. We can maybe bring a little bit of civility back to this country for reasonable people.
How do you maintain a friendship with Bill Maher? Because you're very different on politics, I think.
Yeah, we've 30 years ago when he had his show Politically Incorrect, it was the first TV show I'd really ever done early in my career. And it's not like we stayed best friends through that, but, he's had me on his podcast and on his TV show. And I'm like, man, this is good to go. It's easy for me to go on Fox News. Everyone's so friendly and so nice. We kind of align with our thoughts and ideas. But I kind of like going into the lion's den a little bit and talking to people who differ than me and seeing, where we can connect on things and just try to be a little more civil. I've been one of the most polarizing figures out there. I know that. But I'm like, hey, maybe we can just try to be a little nicer to each other. What the hell?
You're from Detroit, I believe, home of the big three automakers. I got that. What do you make of Trump's tariffs on autos and auto parts coming into the country?
I think it's great. I think we should be making more of these cars in Detroit. I know they make the Ford Raptor there and things, but I know there's other cars that are, we design them in Detroit. It's some of the big three, and then the engines, and they're assembled in Canada or Mexico. And I think it's great for our auto workers, for everybody. Why wouldn't we want? And now the president's talking about giving people a tax break if they buy a car that's actually built in America. This is all great news for Detroit, in my opinion.
Did that come up for discussion last night?
No, we talked about that in the Oval Office a little bit, but no, dinner was awesome. It was weirdly so awesome that just to see, the president and Bill could not have been more engaged and just had such a nice conversation. And then one point I will make is Bill, has obviously been a big supporter of so many, of the left, supporting, Clinton and Kamala and Barack and everyone. And he had never been to the White House. And the president took us up to the private residence, and we were showing Bill the Gettysburg Address in the Lincoln bedroom. And I was like, you've never been here? And Bill was like, no. And I was like, can you believe you're here with President Trump showing you around? And he was like, everybody just knew it was a special, hopefully it's a special moment. It sets an example. I never anticipated on trying to set a positive example in this country for something like this, but the Lord works in mysterious ways, and Pastor Paula prayed over me before I went to the Oval Office, and it was just, man, it was one of the neatest days of my life, I will say.
I want to just get to one last one: ticket scalping. Listen to what Mr. Trump had to say about the executive order on it. Roll tape, please.
It bothers a lot of other artists too. You see,
does.
The artists, and they go out with a $100 ticket and it sells for $2,000 the following night. Ticket sales and scalping and all of the gouging that you have been reading about, that's gotten worse and worse with time. And I didn't know too much about it, but I checked it out, and it is a big problem. And I think you've been trying to get this done for 20 years or something. He said Trump got it done in 2 weeks. But we came up with a very serious EO.
I just wonder how you fix this when you've got enormous demand for a very limited supply of tickets. How do you decide who gets the tickets?
Well, it should be when you go into the queue to get tickets. Not everybody to a hugely popular show is going to get tickets, but as an artist, we want to get, the majority of us want to get the prices we set into the hands of the fans at those prices. I've been the first one to say, and the president hates it when I say, like, sir, I'm a little overpaid. I would rather be more of a hero to working class people so they can go to more shows. And this is the first step to really, try to get the bots and the bad actors, the scalpers out of the way. Ultimately, and I'm a capitalist and a deregulation guy, but ultimately what I would like to see is get some legislation passed that puts a cap on the resale of concert tickets, like a 10% cap. And that eliminates all the BS and the bad actors right off the bat. So, I can try, because if I sell a ticket for $20, somebody's going to mark that up to $200. I don't see any of the money. The fans don't get anything out of it. It's just, you're just paying people to do nothing. So I just want to make it more affordable. We want to make America fun again, make America affordable again.
Kid Rock, thank you very much for being on the show. Real pleasure. Don't be a stranger.
I love your show, Varney.
Oh, I died and went to heaven. Kid Rock, you're all right. Thank you very much indeed, sir. We appreciate it, and we hope to see you again soon. That's a lot. That's great.